What's up? I'm here with Dave Closson, and I'm not gonna talk much about it, but this dude wrote a book, Motivational Interviewing for Campus Police. And Dave's part of Structure U, and I've gotten, Dave and I have probably known each other for a long time through our drinking and partying days, but we never hung out and knew each other. But now it's crazy how we've met now at a completely different space. And we're both, 100% on board about being the best people we can be and creating our own paths of success. And, I met you, obviously we've met before, but then through Structure U, we've kind of become friends. I'm like, dude, I want to talk to this guy. People need to hear this story because you're like the ultimate walking success story, creating your own path and getting there slowly, diligently. And soon, you're just killing it. And I'm excited. And the people need to hear this story. This is awesome.
I got all kinds of stories. I feel like I've lived probably 6 or 7 different lives already. I'm not even 40 yet.
So where do you start? Introduce yourself. Tell us, how did you even come up with writing a book? I know there's probably a long backstory, but we got time. Let's hear it, brother.
Man, how much time you got? Yeah. All right. So I've kind of had a wandering life path. I never felt like I had a true calling. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I was meant to do. But I always kind of just went with the flow, other than joining the Army. I knew I always wanted to join the Army. I wanted to be like my dad.
That's awesome.
Retired Sergeant Major, Airborne Rain. He's my hero. He is. My original life plan: join the National Guard, get to do the soldiering thing, but then you also get to have a job on the side too, a civilian job. Best of both worlds, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought that was going to be awesome. That was where I was headed. Then I'll go, once I get my bachelor's degree, I'll go be an officer, make even more money from the Guard, and I'll work as like a game warden. That's what my dad did.
You had it all figured out.
Oh, I did. I was only in high school and I had it all figured out, and clearly that worked out really well. So when I was in school, in college, November of my junior year, I got deployed to Iraq. And going to Iraq might change some things in your life.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Do I have some stories there? The first week in country, driving down the road, got blown up with an IED.
Really?
All kinds of fun stuff. And actually, I was going through my storage locker and looking at some of my awards, and apparently I led 180 combat patrols.
No kidding. Well, thank you for your service, man. You guys probably don't get appreciated enough for everything you did, because I know I was not one of those guys signing up to do that.
Well, I'm just glad that I got the chance to. Like I said, it was a childhood dream to join the Army and somewhat follow in my dad's footsteps, but still make my own path. But
That's awesome.
When I got back from Iraq, jumped right back into school, and I kind of realized that if I stayed in the Army, that wasn't going to give me the life that I wanted. Constant deployments and being away from family. I realized how important family was to me, and that, I felt good. I could check that box. I've served my country, been there, done that. Now let's move on to the next phase of life, because I want to be a dad. I want to have a family. Being deployed, really, a lot of folks don't realize how hard it is on your families too. Like, I don't think my mom slept an entire minute that whole year I was gone.
Oh, man, I can't imagine.
But yeah, so I couldn't do that to them again. But it kind of shifted my goals there. And so I got out of the Army.
Once you went and deployed and came back, do you think that changed you as a person as well? For the better or for the worse?
Yeah. So, well, this is kind of I'll call it the turning point, where I knew I wanted to make a change in my life, wanted to go a little bit different direction, but I was still trying to figure out what that direction was. And I wasn't real intentional about it. So like I said, I'd kind of just, other than wanting to join the Army, I was just going with the flow. I picked the college I wanted to go to because I had hunting ground nearby. It's like, okay, this is perfect. I can go deer hunting.
And how old were you at this time? Like, once you got back from Iraq?
21.
21?
21. I was young.
Yeah.
I was young. But so picture this. I get back May of 2006, just in time for graduation. And I get to see all of my friends graduate. And that would have been my graduation too. Like, it was cool. I got to see them graduate, but that meant that that fall, I was starting back in school without any friends. They were all leaving. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
know anybody. And how do you make friends in college? I thought it was go out and drink, right? That's a
Yeah,
college
exactly.
experience, right? And the yeah, and gosh, I just wanted to fit in. I'm older than all the other students. I've got
Yeah.
these crazy life experiences. I'm that PTSD guy, been in combat. Oh goodness, he's different. I, I had all these different stigmas going on in my head. I felt like I had to go out and drink because I just wanted to fit in.
And now that was my next question. Do you think that all these other people actually thought that, or was that stigma in your head that you?
It was all probably just in my head.
Isn't
It
that crazy?
really was.
Our brains are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you tap into it though, like it's your brain. Oh man, you can rewire it. It's
Dude,
powerful.
it's so fun. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So you
man,
started drinking.
I started drinking and I drank a lot. And because I wanted to fit in, Party Dave became my nickname. Like that's who I was. I was known as Party Dave. It was my identity. And there were several times where like I was like, okay, this is not good. I got to make a change. But then that was my identity. All my friends, it was all drinking related. I didn't have a social life outside of drinking. So if I wanted to change the path, I'd get sucked right back in. I didn't have any kind of support or any help. And I didn't reach out and ask for help. And it got to the point to where even if I said, you know what, screw that. I'm not drinking anymore. I've had enough. I'm going all in on being Dave. I'm not going to be Party Dave. I'm going to be Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know who Dave was. I had gotten so far away from my core, who I really was meant to be. I didn't even know. I was just lost.
Yeah.
It was
And
rough.
that's a tough place to be, not because what do you revert back to? Well, I'm going
Yeah.
to go back to what I know. Party
Mm-hmm.
day.
Yep. And I had a couple different opportunities where I had almost a fresh start. So when I got my bachelor's degree, I moved out to Colorado and got a job. Awesome summer job. Backpacking to remote mountain lakes, sampling the fish population, aka backpacking and fishing all summer.
Oh, dude, that's
Getting to it.
awesome.
Oh, it was great. It was great. But I was like, okay, this is awesome. New state. People don't know me. They don't know Party Dave. But guess what happened? I didn't know folks, and I just reverted right back to Party Dave.
Yeah.
God, goodness. And
Couldn't
same
shake
thing.
them.
I couldn't shake him. I couldn't. And it happened again when I lived in Florida for a little bit. When I moved back to Charleston, same thing. I'd always get pulled back in. It was a vicious cycle, and I was not brave enough to ask for help. I wasn't. I mean, I didn't even ask for help with my PTSD, and couple that with drinking, it's just a bad mix. Takes
And
you
how
off.
many of us men hate to ask for help? We're tough. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to rely on anybody else to help me. You're crazy.
I know, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I've tied my own tourniquet when I severed my radial artery in the middle of the woods by myself. What do you mean I'm going to ask for help? I got
I'm a
this.
man.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was it was rough. It really was.
So how'd you transition out of that? Like how old were you at this time when you started transitioning out of it?
Oh, I mean, I started when I graduated with my bachelor's, but then I came back, went to grad school, had some professional jobs in the Charleston area, and in all reality, I don't feel like I had a true handle on my drinking or Party Dave to where I wasn't worried about being sucked back in till last year. I mean, it's been a long process. Like there were times where I did good, like I wasn't the Party Dave guy,
Mm-hmm.
but then I'd get bored, I'd get lonely, I'd
Yep.
just want to go be social. And next thing you know, because I have a bad relationship with alcohol, I'm not good at just having one.
Yep.
drinking social. It's you drink.
And
You
that's what
drink.
your brain knows. It wants you to take you back to that safe, secure place that you know.
Yep, yep. And not to get too much into the weeds, but what's really interesting too is I'm actually pretty shy, and coupled that with PTSD, not liking large crowds and always scanning for threats, the hypervigilance. When I go out to bars, I want to go to the bars and be social and be with my friends. But if I'm sober, I'm so anxious
Oh man.
and tense in those environments. My way of coping so I can actually have fun was drinking. So
Yeah.
that's one of the other reasons that I ended up drinking a lot, is because I was just so anxious. It was the only way I could let my guard down in those environments.
Wow. So a year ago when you decided to make this change, what was the reasoning behind it? Why now after all these years?
It was a slow sort of tug of war back and forth, but then I did some journaling.
Woo, I like that.
Uh, I wasn't comfortable talking to people still and really opening up about it. And so I just got a journal out. I just brain dumped, just journaled and kind of looked back. And what it really came down to was I would be depressed after going out drinking. And I figured out why is because acting I was acting out of alignment with my core values. I wasn't being true to who I was.
Mm,
And it was that imbalance that really drew my eyes to it. And I want to be true to me. I want to live true to me, be the best person that I can be, and not be depressed and not let alcohol have control over me,
dude, I
and
love it.
not let social situations want to fit in. Nah, I don't want to fit anymore. I want to be,
Yes.
I want to be Dave Closson.
Yes. However that is, and
Yep.
I think that too, a lot of the times we as dudes, like you said, your core values. The
Mm-hmm.
same thing with me whenever I addressed my thing a year and a half ago. I said, here's the
Mm-hmm.
deal. I'm not being true to myself. I'm not happy with myself,
Mm-hmm.
inside. So it's like I read a book called Self-Imaging by Norman Vincent Peale. And, that
Mm-hmm.
hit home. I'm like, do I even love myself? Like, if push comes to shove and my wife leaves me and my kids are gone, would I love myself? Could I cope? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So like you
Mm-hmm.
said, journaling, I got my journal. I carry it with me everywhere. No matter what happens,
Mm-hmm.
maybe in the middle of the day, I'm like, I just need a journal right now. But I don't
Yep.
think we do enough of that, In the mornings, I do a gratitude, not a journal, but I'll write 3 things I'm grateful
Mm-hmm.
for. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
specific about it. It's not just I'm grateful for the air that I breathe, but it's very specific,
Mm-hmm.
I write 3 of my feelings down, like how am I currently feeling right now? And then also 3 of my goals. So, dude, and then of a nighttime, dude, I love journaling, but I've got obviously my morning routine and my evening
Mm-hmm.
routine. My evening routines where I'll write down 3 wins and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll journal a little paragraph about how the day went, how I was feeling and stuff like that. So, dude, you're onto something with the
Yeah.
journaling.
It's the power of self-reflection. With a lot of my buddies that I've really grown close to, the power comes from really being able to reflect and dig deeper. All right, I'm stressed. Okay, well, let's take it another level deeper. Why are you stressed? What is it? And then just keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper. I feel like just as human beings alone, we tend to just stay at the surface level and not really dig deep because it's a lot of work.
It's not much
And
fun either.
right, yeah, exactly. Took the words out of my mouth. It's
Mhm.
not fun necessarily, but that's how you can really transform your life.
And whenever you do form relationships with people like that, like those relationships are hard to come by, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't
Mm-hmm.
happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a buddy now. I'm sure you all heard me talk about him, but like I can talk to him about anything. I could text him at
Mm-hmm.
3 a.m, be like, dude, I am struggling right now. Like, could you come over? He'd
Mm-hmm.
get me here in a heartbeat. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
those are the friends that you want. And it's time. Time it
Mm-hmm.
takes to build those relationships. But man, once you get them, hang on to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I want, granted, I love that guy, but I want I want more like that. I want all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to all be surface level because, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
99% of relationships surface level. They kind of
Mm-hmm.
suck.
It kind of just spurred a thought. Maybe it's because of COVID and quarantine and not traveling for work anymore, but I'm perfectly happy staying at home most of the time. I don't feel the need to get out because those surface level small talk conversations, I hate them. I'm not good at them. I always like to just, let's make this a real conversation. Let's
They're a
actually
time
talk about
suck, you
something.
know. If anything, they suck my
Hmm.
time away. Oh, the weather's good today, huh? Yep.
Yeah.
How
Oh,
was your
where you
night last
from?
night? It was
Yep. Yep.
good.
Exactly. Which is kind of funny. My fiance is like, man, people tell you everything. You're in the back of an Uber and they're telling you their life story. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm gonna have a real conversation.
You know, it's so funny you say it. My wife says the same thing. Like, how did you find out that that person was born in Guatemala? I'm like, I have no idea. They just wanted to tell me that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Just
funny.
power of conversation and connection. Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely.
you
But
dug deep. You
yep.
found the real Dave Closson, being true to
Hmm.
yourself. And has it been
Hmm.
all good since then?
Yeah. I mean, it really, for the most part, has. And the biggest key is the clarity. And it's real easy to say, yeah, I want to be a man of integrity. All right, cool. But what does that look like on what is today? Wednesday? A Wednesday night. Just a random Wednesday. What does being a man of integrity look like? What does it what does it mean to be a man of character? When it comes, like, get specific. What does it look like day to day? And I actually relate this back to leadership too. It's really easy to look at those big, notable leaders that were in a big, giant, Super Bowl win or in leading combat patrols. But what does a good leader look like on a random Monday morning?
Yeah.
Everyday life. That's what you want to look at, because very seldom are we going to be in the Super Bowl, coaching the Super Bowl game. But you bet your butt we're going to be stressed out on a Monday morning. But y'all, we're a leader. We got to step up. We got to show up. Same thing in
Yep.
life. If you want to be the
Yeah.
best version of you, man, you got to step up and show up on those random days.
Random days. And you know, you're touching on a good point here because I've had a few people reach out to me here just in the last 2 days saying, I'm just, I don't know if I'm in a funk right now. I don't know kind of what the
Mm-hmm.
deal is. And I'm like, and and one of them I said, well, what do you think's going on? He's like, well, it's just resistance. And I'm like, okay, but like, what do you want to do? He's like, well, how come I can't be on 100% of the time? I'm like, what are the chances of you being motivated and
Mm-hmm.
inspired 100% of the time? I said,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
very small. Can you hear my dog barking?
Just a little bit. It's all good.
Gosh, hold on, let me let this dog in. He'll annoy me forever. But I said, when it gets down to it, I said the deal is we got to win each day. 1% better each day. If you're
Mm-hmm.
struggling that hour, win that 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
Because are
Mm-hmm.
we all going to be inspired or motivated 100% of the time? No. It's unrealistic. And yeah, we're going to have ebbs and flows. All of us are, leader, not leader, anybody in life. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
have the struggle. And yeah, I think for people that are inspiring, or not even inspiring, but are striving for more in life,
Mm-hmm.
they probably see those more because they're out of their comfort zones or doing hard things
Mm-hmm.
more often than somebody sitting on the couch
Mm-hmm.
just chilling.
Man, speaking of ebbs and flows, I was chatting with one of my colleagues yesterday, and just talking about my career journey, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I've been laid off 3 times since 2016." Like, wait, what? Yeah, and how'd you say that? Like, it was no big deal. Like, well, I mean, it's a bump in the road. It sucked, but guess what? You got to drive on, right?
Yes.
Got to drive on.
Dude, and that's awesome because how often, with being laid off, like, how did you handle it? Because most people are like, dude, life's over. My life sucks. I got laid off. But like you said, it's a bump in the road. What's
Hmm.
one of those things? When one door closes, another opens. And I'm sure
Hmm.
where you're at now is probably way better than where you were 4 years ago.
Yes. So let's see. So in 2014, moving into 2015, I took a pay cut. I had been chasing, well, I'd been going with the flow. Took a job that was easy to get because of my military experience. Just kind of fell into it. I was good at it. I excelled at it. Made good money, 60 grand a year, great benefits, but it still wasn't aligned with who I wanted to be and what kind of life I wanted to live and the impact I wanted to make. It wasn't aligned with my passions, things I cared about. And I made a job switch, a career switch, ended up going from 60 grand to $32,000 a year before taxes.
Oh man, that's
Like,
a big difference.
you take taxes out of that, man, that's making like 20 grand or less a year. Right? Oh
Yeah,
man. But then that job, that's the job I got laid off from twice.
really.
Yep. Yep.
And that one was
Mhm.
more in line with your core values and what you wanted out of life.
That one was the starting point. It was if you say the ladder for this career field for the prevention, substance misuse, alcohol and drug prevention field, it was my starting point, my entry point to this field.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yep. And so much started there. And actually, while I was there, that was when I wrote the book also.
Really. That was my
Mm-hmm.
next question. When does the book come into this? When's this book play into the factory? So that's awesome.
2015. Yep. Yep.
2015.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you get laid off. You
Mm-hmm.
write a book. So you take the pay cut. You get laid off. You write a book. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's next? What's next for Dave Closson? I assume you're in a job you kind of like now, but
Mm-hmm.
are you like working for the man? Are you wanting something on your own? Like, what's the next step? What are you going to do with this book? Like, tell us about this
Mm-hmm.
book too.
Yeah. Okay. So while I was a campus police officer, um, I basically went from drunk college student to college cop that still would get drunk on his days off. Um,
Oh man, that's great.
yeah. Yeah. But I had a different approach. Having been to Iraq, walked the streets, I've had combat, all that fun, got that out of my system. I didn't want to have to wrestle anybody. I didn't want to have to deal with that stuff. If I could just talk to the students and have them, get their act together and stop being an idiot,
Yeah.
perfect. And so I took my time and I learned how to do that more effectively. And if
Oh,
you
that's
think,
awesome.
oh man, I'm getting ready to go down a soapbox here. Good thing I got a standing desk. I can move around a little bit. Um, because I had built some relationships across campus, I got invited to co-teach some alcohol sanction classes. So when a student gets an underage drinking ticket, they have to go to this class. Well, so I got trained to go teach that class. Kind of unheard of for a cop to be
Yeah.
doing that. That's other people's jobs, not a cop's. Like, all right, cool, let's do this. And to get trained, I learned motivational interviewing. When I was in that class, I was the only cop, and I think I was the only guy too. I kind of stood out. So when the instructor needed a volunteer to role play a college freshman that had a drinking problem, guess who they picked? It was me. So as I'm role playing, the role I'm pretending to be was so close to my life, I could relate.
Oh yeah.
And I got to see and feel what it was like for the motivational interviewing conversation, that style. And so then I just took that back with me on patrol and tried it. And it works
Oh, dude,
great.
that's awesome.
It's like the light bulb went off. Like, this is perfect, because what it is, the gist of it is, if I'm talking with you about your behavior change, I can't tell you you need to change your behavior. You're probably like, okay, yeah, sure, Dave, I do. Yeah, great. You're
Yeah.
not going to be bought in. You're not going to own it. If I can just ask you questions to help you connect the dots between where you're at and where you want to be, that tip that scale towards, oh yeah, Mike wants to change. You come up with the plan, you come up with the reasons why that resonate with you, then you're going to be more likely to make that change. So that's really all it is. You're just asking questions to elicit those
That's awesome.
connectors. And think about this. When you're driving down the road and you see a squad car up ahead, what do?
Oh, you hit the brakes.
Yeah. Even if you're not speeding, people hit the brakes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So by the mere presence of a police officer, people start thinking about their behavior. What better time to talk about their behavior than when they're already thinking about it?
Yes.
Yes.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so
yeah.
cool. What a great idea.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a great fit, and it's a more person-centered style of police. And I know the police are catching a lot of flack right now. But the it's a person-centered approach, because it's about the individual. It's about what they think is important, what they care about, what's important to them. It's not about, hey, I'm Dave Closson, I was a U.S. Army infantryman, I've been to Iraq, I've done this, I've done that, that's why you should listen to me.
Yeah.
It's not about that. Not about that at all.
Dude, Yeah, because they don't care about that. They're worried about
Yeah.
themselves. What are we
Right.
all worried
Yeah.
about? We're all worried about ourselves.
Yep. Yep.
Dude, that's incredible. So what's next with the book? What are you gonna do next?
Oh man, I've always got tons of things cooking. Tons of things cooking.
And I guess I asked that question because,
Yeah.
right now, so you're working for the man,
Mm-hmm.
not a
Mm-hmm.
bad gig, you got a good gig, but you write
Mm-hmm.
a book, like you've got to have a process to
Mm-hmm.
get out of working full time. Like there's got to be something like, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
guys here in Structure there's a lot of entrepreneurs. There's a lot of guys that want entrepreneurship. They don't want to have to
Mm-hmm.
work from a 9 to 5 the rest of their lives. And like hearing
Mm-hmm.
this story, like I feel like we're not to the end yet, but I feel like you're taking all these steps to get
Mm-hmm.
out of it, to
Yeah.
roll with
So
it. And,
a thought that popped in my head earlier that I didn't quite share, the the layoffs, the rerouting my career, the life plan number 9 that I'm on right now, whatever you want to call it. I've I've been able to carry lessons forward from all my life experiences. So lessons from walking the streets in Baghdad, building relationships with Iraqi civilians, I'm applying those as a consultant and a prevention TA provider. Wait, what? Finding
yeah,
ways to carry those lessons forward, making a big difference. And so that got me to start, kind of shifted my paradigm, the way I was looking at things, in that whenever life is rerouting me, that's just simply God saying, hey, you've learned what you needed to learn here. Now it's time for you to go here and either do something and or learn something new. It's just all right, check that box, time to move on to the next venture. That's just the way I looked at the layoffs, the
yeah,
reroutes. I mean,
that's
all right,
so cool
cool.
though.
But it's a way to help handle those ups and downs, because and there's
And
always going to be them.
just mentioning your faith there, I think that plays a huge part in it. I wish that when I would have started anything especially with my faith, like I would have journaled back then to
Mm-hmm.
see who God has put in my path all along the way. Like it's almost like he's been hitting me in the face with a board saying, hey, dummy, I'm putting these people in your place in your life for a reason. But now
Mm-hmm.
where I'm at now, I can look back and be like, okay, I see that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
still learning from those past experiences as to
Mm-hmm.
why I assume he is putting people in my life along those
Mm-hmm.
time frames. So I mean, that's awesome. That's really cool
Mm-hmm.
to hear.
Yeah, and when you ask what's next, I'm really just committed to living a life of personal growth and sharing that life to help inspire others, so we can all overcome adversity. Because we're always going to be faced with challenges. We're always going to be faced with ups and downs. But if I can live my life focused on personal growth, always trying to be the best version of me that I can be, showing up, living authentic, and just sharing with
Yep.
others, so y'all know that, hey, you're not alone in thinking or feeling this way, and you can do it too.
For
Um,
sure. Dude, that's
job,
so cool.
yeah,
I feel
job
like
wise. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say like, you hit everything right there as far as like for those of us that want the most we can get out of life. If you're there to
Mm-hmm.
help and when we're going through ebbs and flows, if you're
Mm-hmm.
somebody that I can call me like, Dave, I'm just in a funk today, let's talk about it. We as guys need that. And you need to
Mm-hmm.
know you're
Mm-hmm.
showing up, I'm showing up, other guys in this
Mm-hmm.
group are showing up wanting to help each other. Like that's what it's about, man. So I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that.
There's something cool, and for those that are watching that haven't tried it yet, just try it. One of your good trusted friends or significant other, when you're having a stressful time, just look them in the eye and just say, I'm feeling stressed, or I'm at my max. Like, just say it and just see how it feels and what happens. Because they're
Yeah.
just, be vulnerable and be honest. And man, it's powerful. It really is.
Being vulnerable, it's not necessarily the stereotypical man, but
Mm-hmm.
you talk about getting some feelings of freedom whenever you're vulnerable and you can tell another
Mm-hmm.
dude, like you said, I'm stressed, I'm struggling with this. And then they
Mm-hmm.
can reciprocate that and be like, let's
Mm-hmm.
work it out. Or I'm also struggling with this. Like you can form a bond pretty quick. I say it takes
Mm-hmm.
time, but you can form a bond with people pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool.
Yep, absolutely.
Man, it seemed like I had
Absolutely.
another question, but now I forgot what it was.
Oh, you got time. Come up with another question.
Yeah. But I mean, Dude, it's exciting knowing that there are guys like this. And I think that, whether you want to call it accountability partner or just a place like Structure U to go and talk about things, like I share with my wife or on there this morning, I said, or recently on the page, I said, what's one thing most wives would never say, hey, change this and our relationship will be better. But most wives are thinking, hey, stop being a D-bag and, whatever it is, whatever it is, for me, it was to cut out. I wasn't going to talk rude and crude to my wife. Wasn't ever going to speak badly about it, which I never really did. We hear some guys get in that habit of, we're out golfing or something. Yeah, my wife's being a real rag. I'm like, I vowed never to talk like that with my wife. I respect her too much. And I hear some of these guys, I'm like, don't do that, But it's like, I just want to be, like you said, show up for my relationship with my spouse. That's my number one goal right now, is to do that for my wife. And I think that, and also guys in this group, because, we all have some struggles, everybody's got something. If we can show up for each other, like, let's do it.
And I love that you bring up showing up for your wife or your spouse. And that's something that I try to be very intentional about. And my fiance, she's amazing. And she's like, on her days off, I'm working all day. Still, I work from home, but I'm working all day, usually standing here in front of the computer for about 7-8 hours a day, easily. And she'll tell me, go sit on the couch. Like, I'll make dinner. Like, I'll put the dishes away. Like, no, I want to get up to you. I don't want to sit here and watch you put the dishes away. Like, we're in this together. Like,
for sure, man.
Just feels
most
weird.
Dudes don't do that. I feel like maybe they do, but I feel like most guys don't do that stuff. I'm the same exact way. I got home today, and like I told you, I said we were supposed to do this an hour later, and I said, hey, I've got some time right now because my wife, she was still cooking dinner, and she's like, nah, just go to the kitchen. I'm like, okay, but I know, like, once we eat, like, I'll help put the dishes away. I'll help put the laundry away. Like you said, we're in this 50-50. Like, this is a joint venture. It's not like the old days where the woman did all the cooking and cleaning and raised the kids. Like, I want to be part of that.
And it makes me happy to serve her, to do things for her. That brings me joy.
Without expecting something in return,
Yep.
I think that's a lot of us guys too are like, well, I did this. What do I get out of the deal? I used to think that a lot.
We're kind of circling back into the social norms or perceived norms. And that's comes from like the drinking. There's research about the drinking environment, all that fun stuff. But I felt susceptible to it. The whole college environment, the norm of you go out drinking, right? That's what you do. That's a perceived norm. And that's not necessarily the norm. When you actually do the research, most college students don't really drink that much at all. If they even drink, they really don't. But when you're hanging out with other drinkers, you're going to think everybody drinks because you're not hanging out with the folks that are sober.
Exactly. So true.
Just, like, going into the Army too, thinking about the culture or the perceived culture, college, same thing. Army, what do you do? Rough and tough, no feelings, RoboCop, soldier of fortune. Is that really the way it is? Is that the way I have to be? Or
remember whenever President Trump made those comments about that grabbing a woman by the privates, and someone's like, well, he's like, that's just locker room talk. And at that point, my wife's like, can you believe that? I'm like, yeah, that's the way guys talk. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And that was a year and a half ago whenever I vowed to change up my cleaning. I'm like, no, not all guys talk like that. There's a vast majority do because that's the social norm. But no, like, I'm now running around with a group of guys that don't talk like that. And I was like, dude, I'm shameful, regret it. Yeah. But also it's got me to where I am now. And I've learned a lot. So it's not, but yeah, I'm like you said, it's where you're hanging out is the norm. Change your environment.
Challenge. So y'all watch and challenge yourselves. Ask the question, why am I doing this? Do I feel like this? Is this the way it's supposed to be?
Yes.
Is everybody doing whatever the behavior? Why is it, let's go out and have a beer and celebrate? What is it so special about drinking beer? Why not? Let's go out and have a Coke. Let's go have a Gatorade or
yeah. No, exactly.
Why has it got to be alcohol? It's just the norm, the perceived norm.
The perceived norm. Let's change the norm.
Yep.
No reason not to. I mean, if somebody's going to change it, why can't we? We're a whole new generation coming up. things have to change, you know?
Think about this too. So in the college environment, when it comes to prevention, they'll have, or even in high school, the alternative spring break. Why is it the sober spring break is the alternative?
Yeah.
As
Why
the
isn't that
drinking
the
one is the
norm?
main one. Like, why is it that way? Is it? Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool way to think about stuff. I like that.
Yeah. I gotta challenge
All
you. I
right,
gotta
Dave. Well,
think.
where can people find you at?
Where? Social media.
Structure You,
Dave
you're part of Structure You.
Structure You, DaveClosson.com. The book's available on Amazon. I got a few here too. I'm going to be doing a free book giveaway coming up in probably a couple weeks as well. Yeah. And I mean, if you just want to coach, if you want to chat, if you want to vent, we just scratched the surface of my stories. We really did. And I have no problem opening up and talking. So just
Dude, I
hit me
love it.
up, man.
I
Just hit
love
me
it.
up.
We'll have to do another one of these and we'll get deeper.
Yeah.
We'll get deeper.
We got to do one of these in person
For
and
sure.
get deep. That's what we got to
100%.
do. I got a couple camera setups. We can still capture it for everybody.
My man, that's awesome.
Definitely.
Good deal. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. I'm sure people are going to get some gold nuggets. I know that I was taking notes the whole time as usual. So
Well, you recorded it, right?
I recorded it. Yeah.
All right, then you don't need to take notes. You're good.
I still like to take notes. But well, Dave, I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon. And you know, if anybody wants to reach out to you, they're more than willing to reach out. We'll be connected.
Absolutely. See you all in the group.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.